After 15 months long agitation, the day of farmers' Ghar Wapsi has arrived. Protesting farmers brought the curtains down on their year-long agitation today and began to vacate the protest sites at the Tikri and Singhu borders. Samyukt Kisan Morcha, the umbrella union of various farmers' unions, will in fact conduct a victory march and head back home. Farmers are packing their tents and bags at Singhu and Tikri borders as batches of farmers leave the protest sites. As farmers make their way home, the borders have been flooded with tractors, leading to traffic jams. Farm leader Rakesh Tikait has said that one lane of the Ghazipur border will be opened by tomorrow, and by December 16, the entire border would be free. On Thursday, the Samyukt Kisan Morcha had announced that the agitation has been suspended following the centre's promise of fulfilling their demands. However, farmers have warned that they will return if the centre backtracks from its promise.
A year-long agitation of the farmers has now finally culminated, and Kisans all across Punjab are going back to their villages. There is happiness, there is sadness as well as, but the struggle of the agitation has been immense at this moment. I'll just speak to a few people. पूछना चाहूंगी आप लोगों से कि कितना समय आप लोगों को अभी लग सकता है सिंघू से निकलने में पूरे तरीके से?
सिंघू से निकलने में 3-4 घंटे लगेंगे सिंघू से बाहर निकलने में, और पंजाब की एंट्री करने के लिए हमें आज शाम रात 11-12 बजे बज जाएंगे।
और क्या डीजे बजाते हुए आप लोग जा रहे हैं?
ये हमारा अमृतसर तक का प्लान है। अमृतसर मत्था टेकने जा रहे हैं हम सारे। 3 दिन में पहुंचेंगे वहाँ पे।
अच्छा।
3
दिन आप ऐसे जाएंगे?
3 दिन ऐसे ही जाएंगे हम।
कितना सामान लोड किया आपने ट्रक में?
जो सामान हमारा पीछे ट्रक ट्राले आ रहे हैं, सारे आ रहे हैं पीछे हमारे, वो देख सकते हो, वो पीछे आ रहे हैं।
पीछे भी यहाँ पे जो ट्रॉले वगैरह हैं वो आते जा रहे हैं। The entire stretch of Singhu border, if I should tell you, remained blocked for almost a year, and now that whole stretch is being opened somehow because farmers feel it has a sense of victory, and therefore this victory is what they are taking back with them, along with the sadness of leaving those that they stayed in the agitation with. And these are moments of historic importance that may not happen ever in future. With Ziauddin, this is Milan Sharma reporting for India Today.
After 378 days, farmers are winding up from the Ghazipur border. The policemen who have kept a vigilant watch on these farmers over the past 378 days, they are still waiting here, and now they are watching the farmers go back home. At the Ghazipur border, the face of the protest was Rakesh Tikait, and he has said that even though these structures are being brought down and farmers are making their way back home, the protest is still on. The agitation is still on, in the sense that on the 15th of January, the Samyukt Kisan Morcha will have a review meeting in the national capital, and if the farmers feel the government is going back on its promises, then they will once again return to the various borders. However, for now, these permanent structures which were built by the farmers, those structures are now being brought down. You'll be able to see, all the bamboo sticks, all the tin sheds, all of them are now being brought down. The farmers say the process will begin today. It might take a couple of days for the entire stretch to be vacant. However, the process has started, and farmer leaders are saying they will review whether government sticks to its promises or not. This is Shwara Paliwal reporting from the Ghazipur border with camera person Ankit.
आंदोलन से संघर्ष से समाधान की तरफ गए और समाधान होकर घर की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तो एक खुशी है। अगले महीने की 15 जनवरी को एक मीटिंग है, उसमें एसकेएम के सभी लोग उसमें आएंगे और पूरा वर्क आउट करा जाएगा कि सरकार से समझौता आया उसमें क्या क्या हुआ, और जब तक उनके पास में भी टाइम है।
Over a year-long battle between the farmers and the government finally coming to an end. A year full of controversies, protests that claimed the lives of over 700 farmers. Since the inception of the contentious laws, the journey has seen many twists and turns. Here's the report looking back on the last 1 year.
jubilation rings out at the edge of India's capital.
What began about 380 days ago turned out to be India's most sustained agricultural protest. Farmers dug in till they forced the government to retreat. At the same time, this protest had its own highs and lows. It shook political equations before the centre backed down.
Punjab became the cradle of these protests after the BJP-led government introduced 3 farm reform ordinances in June last year. But when Parliament passed them into law 3 months later, the move tore apart a political partnership.
मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में प्रस्ताव स्वीकृत हुआ, विधेयक पारित हुआ.
One of the BJP's oldest allies, the Shiromani Akali Dal, quit the ruling alliance in protest.
ये कोई कुर्बानी नहीं है, ये हमारा फर्ज है, हमारा असूल. हम श्रोमणी अकाली दल असूलों की पार्टी है और ये अपने असूल को कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करता.
Let me remind you, Canada will always be there to defend the right of peaceful protest. We believe in the importance of dialogue, and that's why we've reached out through multiple means directly to the Indian authorities to highlight our concerns.
In January, the government suffered a setback when the Supreme Court ordered a stay on implementation of the controversial laws. And vocal support from several other international celebrities attracted global spotlight on the protests. The backlash was inevitable. Several Indian celebs also stepped in to voice nationalist sentiments.
The deadlock between the government and farmers was punctuated by multiple flashpoints in multiple rounds of talks. The biggest one came on January 26, when bands of protesters on tractors and horses raided the Red Fort.
This was the moment when most thought it's all over. Remember, critics of the farm agitation, trolls, and some leading politicians had already labelled the movement anti-national, Naxal, and pro-Khalistani. But just when action seemed imminent, Rakesh Tikkait's tears turned the tide. The Jat leader became a new galvanizing force. With his rustic Hindi, Tikkait led the Punjab-dominated protests into the Hindi heartland.
Continuance of the farmers' agitation would inflict a very heavy political cost, which the BJP was not willing to take. Because the farmers had made it known right from the time of West Bengal elections that they are not going to yield.
A show of strength in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh, too huge to ignore. A deadly escalation that pushed the protests into a more volatile phase.
You have been at the protest sites in the beginning, volunteering here. How satisfied are you at this closure?
The protest is a state of mind. हमें खुशी तो है इसके ऊपर, मगर इसमें एक दुख भी है कि जितने हमारे 700 प्लस जो है लोग हैं वो शहीद हुए हैं. तो हमें वो मोमेंट्स भी याद है जब वो कभी जब प्रोटेस्ट के में जब जख्मी हुए थे या सुसाइड कर रहे थे, तो हम उनको लेके इसी एम्बुलेंस में हम उनको लेके हॉस्पिटल जाते थे. हमें वो उस चीज़ का दुख भी है, मगर एक थोड़ी सी खुशी भी है कि हमने इस क्लोजर जो है वो बड़ा अच्छा हुआ है कि हमें ये हमारी जो मांगे हैं वो पूरी हुई है.
A hard-fought victory after losing more than 700 protesters to various causes, COVID-19, tough weather included.
The protest is wrapping up for now, but it's a battle half won till India's farming sector is lifted out of its chronic distress. With camera person Shagun Bhardwaj, this is Harmeet Shah Singh from Singhu border for India Today.